Deep within the emerald rainforests of Costa Rica, where the air is thick with the calls of unseen creatures and the ground hides secrets older than memory, lie hundreds of silent sentinels. Massive stone spheres, perfectly carved, rest scattered across fields, jungles, and abandoned villages, some half buried in the soil, others standing defiantly under the open sky. To stumble upon one is to feel as though you've entered another world, an ancient stage where forgotten hands once shaped the impossible. Some spheres are small enough to cradle in your arms, others are so vast they dwarf a grown man. Yet, despite their size and weight, they are nearly flawless, rounder than any natural stone could ever be. No inscriptions, no carvings, no clear purpose, only their eerie perfection. When the first explorers and plantation workers uncovered them in the 1930s, they believed treasure must lie inside. Some were blown apart with dynamite, revealing nothing but solid, unyielding stone. No gold, no jewels, just mystery. Who carved these spheres? How did they achieve such mastery without metal tools, wheels, or modern machines? And, perhaps the greatest question of all, why? Were they symbols of power, celestial markers, or messages from a civilization swallowed by time? The jungle whispers no answers. Only the stones remain, as if guarding a secret meant for those brave enough to search. The story begins not with archaeologists or explorers, but with ordinary men swinging machetes under the blistering Costa Rican sun. It was the early 1930s, and the United Fruit Company had pushed deep into the fertile lowlands to carve out vast banana plantations. Workers hacked away at the dense jungle, clearing land for rows of green fruit that would be shipped across oceans. Then, something unusual caught their eyes. Buried beneath layers of earth and roots lay smooth, round stones. At first glance, they seemed like natural boulders, but as the workers cleared away the dirt, their mouths fell open. These were no ordinary rocks. They were almost perfectly round. Too perfect. Whispers spread quickly. What could they be? The local rumors carried an irresistible idea. Gold. Treasure sealed within stone by ancient hands. The fever of discovery took hold. Some workers, armed not with curiosity but with dynamite, decided to crack the mystery open by force. Explosions echoed through the fields, shattering the spheres into fragments. But inside, there was nothing. No gold, no jewels, only solid granite. The men had destroyed priceless artifacts without realizing it. What they thought was treasure had in truth been something far more valuable. A puzzle from the past, crafted with unimaginable precision. Word of these strange spheres began to spread beyond the plantations. Scholars, adventurers, and dreamers came to see them with their own eyes. How many were there? Dozens? Hundreds? Why were they scattered across the landscape as though dropped from the sky? With each new discovery, the mystery deepened. The spheres were not isolated curiosities. They were part of a hidden story, waiting to be told. When scientists and explorers finally examined the spheres up close, they were stunned. These were not crude carvings or rough attempts at art. They were nearly mathematically perfect, some small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, others stretching more than 2 meters in diameter, weighing as much as 15 tons. Yet their roundness was flawless. This perfection should not exist. Centuries ago, before the Spanish set foot on Central American soil, the indigenous peoples of Costa Rica had no iron tools, no machines, no wheels, no cranes. And yet, somehow, they shaped these massive granite boulders into spheres so exact that modern measurements reveal only the slightest variations. How? Granite and gabbro, the stones most commonly used, are among the hardest natural materials on Earth. To carve them, even with today's technology, requires diamond-tipped tools and heavy machinery. But these spheres were crafted long before such inventions. Imagine shaping a mountain of stone, inch by inch, using nothing but harder rocks, sand, fire, and determination. It seems almost unthinkable. Some researchers suggest the ancient carvers may have used repeated heating and cooling to fracture the stone, then painstakingly polish the surfaces with sand and river water. If true, it would have taken years, perhaps even generations, to complete just a single sphere. But here's the strangest part. These spheres weren't just smooth, they were balanced. Even the largest ones, when placed on flat ground, barely wobbled. Whoever made them understood not just artistry, but geometry, symmetry, and engineering. And yet, for what purpose? Why pour unimaginable labor into creating something so perfect when survival in the rainforest demanded every ounce of effort for food, shelter, and protection? The perfection of the spheres forces us to ask an unsettling question. Did these ancient peoples possess knowledge we've forgotten? Or were they driven by a purpose so great that it justified shaping the unshapable? The jungle gives no answers. Only the stones remain, silent, defying logic, daring us to uncover the secret of their impossible perfection. Long before the arrival of the Spanish, the indigenous peoples of Costa Rica, the Bribri and the Boruca, wove their world from stories, spirits, and the voices of the land itself. For them, the stone spheres were not lifeless rocks. They were sacred, powerful, alive with meaning. The Bribri tell of gods who hurled the stones down from the heavens, casting them with thunderous force to drive away invaders. Imagine, then, walking through the rainforest and seeing these colossal spheres resting silently in the earth. Would it not feel as though the gods themselves had left their weapons scattered across the jungle floor? The Boruca, famed for their vibrant masks and spiritual traditions, whisper another tale, that the spheres represent the sun and the moon, eternal opposites locked in cosmic balance. Each perfect circle was a symbol of harmony, of the unbreakable cycles of the heavens above mirrored here on earth. But legends don't always agree. Some stories suggest the spheres guarded secret pathways, marking holy lands or burial sites of chiefs and shamans. Others hint at something even stranger, that the stones were portals or messages, carved to preserve wisdom from ancestors who feared their knowledge might be lost. No writing was left behind. No temples remain to explain the carvings. Only the voices of myth echo across time, painting pictures of gods, spirits, and powers that defy our understanding. Were these stories just folklore, born from wonder at the impossible, or did the Bribri and Boruca preserve fragments of a deeper truth, a truth about why their ancestors labored to shape stone into perfection? When you stand before the spheres, listening to the wind move through the trees, it's easy to believe the legends. They do not feel like human work alone. They feel otherworldly, as if they were left not just for the people of the past, but for us, the distant future, to decipher. As archaeologists began documenting the spheres, one detail emerged that deepened the enigma. They were not placed randomly. Some were lined up in long, deliberate rows stretching across open fields. Others were arranged in perfect triangles, squares, or circles. A few clusters seemed to mirror the constellations above, as if the heavens themselves had been mapped onto the earth. What could this mean? In one site, spheres pointed toward the horizon where the sun rose on the equinox, the moment of perfect balance between day and night. At another, their alignment hinted at tracking the solstices, the turning points of the year when the sun reached its farthest extremes. These arrangements suggest something astonishing, that the people who carved the spheres were not only artisans, but astronomers, keeping time with the movements of the cosmos. But there are deeper puzzles. Many spheres were found marking the edges of ancient settlements, suggesting they may have served as territorial boundaries or symbols of authority. Others guarded burial sites, silent sentinels standing watch over the dead. Could they have been both, tools for measuring the heavens and emblems of earthly power? And yet, many spheres have been displaced. During the banana boom of the 20th century, heavy machinery dragged them across plantations and towns. stripping them from their original settings. Some were rolled into gardens as ornaments. Others moved to city plazas, their ancient context lost forever. With their alignments broken, the messages they once carried may be gone beyond recovery. Still, tantalizing clues remain. When standing among the spheres that survived untouched, one cannot help but feel they were meant to be read like a language, a code written not in letters, but in geometry and stone. Were they a calendar for planting and harvest, guiding entire communities? A map of the stars, linking humanity to the divine? Or perhaps something far more profound, a cosmic message meant to outlast the rise and fall of civilizations? The alignments whisper that the spheres were not simple decorations. They were part of a grand design, one we are only beginning to glimpse through the shadows of time. The stone spheres of Costa Rica are more than archaeological puzzles. They are blank canvases upon which generations have painted their theories. Some explanations rest on science. Others wander into the realm of the fantastic. Archaeologists suggest practical uses. Perhaps the spheres mark the residences of chiefs or elite families, symbols of power and prestige in ancient villages. Others argue they were boundary markers, dividing territories or guiding travelers through the dense rainforest. A few scholars even propose they were aligned to track time, functioning like massive sundials or celestial calendars. Practical, logical, yet somehow unsatisfying. For would a people truly labor for decades to carve perfect spheres just to mark a property line? That gap between effort and explanation is where imagination takes flight. Some fringe theorists whisper of Atlantis, claiming the spheres are remnants of a forgotten, highly advanced civilization that vanished beneath the sea, leaving behind only these indestructible relics. Could the spheres be proof of lost technology, surviving in the jungles of Costa Rica while their creators disappeared into legend? Others point their gaze skyward. To them, the spheres are not of this earth at all. They argue the perfect roundness, the alignments, and the sheer impossibility of their creation hint at extraterrestrial involvement. Perhaps they were navigational beacons, placed to guide star travelers. Or messages, geometric signals carved into stone, waiting for a future humanity to discover. And then there are the most haunting theories, that the spheres are not objects at all, but symbols, timeless representations of cosmic perfection, created not for utility, but for meaning. Each one a reminder that life, like the circle, has no beginning and no end. Science demands caution. No evidence ties the spheres to Atlantis or visitors from the stars. But the mystery is powerful because the questions remain unanswered. Why spheres, when no other culture in the region produced anything similar? Why perfection, when imperfection would have been easier? Why scatter them across the land, unless they were meant to be seen, followed, or remembered? Whether the work of ancient engineers, forgotten civilizations, or something more otherworldly, the stone spheres continue to defy our understanding. And in that defiance, they keep calling us to wonder. Today, the stone spheres stand silent across Costa Rica, some proudly displayed in museums, others left in fields where cattle graze around them, and many still hidden in the jungle, their secrets untouched. UNESCO has named them a World Heritage Treasure, a reminder to the world that these stones are more than curiosities. They are voices of the past. But what are they trying to say? Perhaps the spheres were not meant for their own time at all. Maybe they were designed for us, the future. Imagine a civilization that knew it might not survive, pouring its energy into crafting messages that could endure when stories and temples crumbled. What better shape than the sphere, eternal, unbroken, incapable of decay? The circle has always carried meaning. To the ancients, it symbolized the sun, the moon, the endless cycles of life and death. To us, it represents unity, perfection, infinity. Could the spheres have been a universal language, a way for one civilization to whisper across centuries, We were here. We understood. Remember us. But there is another, darker possibility. Were the spheres warnings? Perhaps they marked sacred places not to be disturbed, or boundaries never to be crossed. Some researchers suggest their placement near burial sites hints at a spiritual function. Guardians of the dead, standing watch until the end of time. If so, by moving them, have we silenced voices that were never meant to be uprooted? Their message remains locked, but one truth endures. The people who carved the spheres achieved something astonishing. With no machines, they created perfection. With no writing, they left behind symbols that speak louder than words. And maybe, just maybe, the lesson they offer us is this: civilizations are fragile. Empires rise and fall, but stone endures. What we choose to leave behind becomes the voice of our memory. So, what are the spheres? Tools, symbols, warnings, or messages to remind us that even the smallest culture can leave behind a legacy that echoes through eternity? The answer lies not just in the stones, but in how we choose to listen. The stone spheres of Costa Rica remain among the greatest enigmas of the ancient world. Scattered across valleys and jungles, polished to impossible perfection, and stripped of clear meaning, they stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that has vanished. They do not speak in words. They do not reveal their secrets in carvings or inscriptions. Instead, they whisper through their presence, round, eternal, unbroken. Were they tools of power, mapping the cosmos and marking the land of kings? Were they sacred symbols of harmony, linking the people to the sun, the moon, and the endless cycles of life? Or were they something far more profound, a message carved into stone, meant not for their world, but for ours? Every theory opens a door, but none closes it. The spheres remain elusive, mocking our certainty, daring us to admit that the past still holds secrets beyond our grasp. Stand before one, and you feel it. A strange silence, a weight that is not just stone, but memory. You cannot help but wonder who touched it last, centuries ago, and what thoughts filled their mind as they shaped perfection from raw rock. Pride, devotion, fear, hope? Perhaps the true message of the spheres is not to be solved, but to remind us of mystery itself, that even in an age of science, satellites, and machines, there are still puzzles carved by human hands that leave us humbled. They endure as civilizations fade. They remain, while stories turn to dust. They whisper across centuries. We were here. We dreamed. We left our mark. And in those whispers, the lost civilization of Costa Rica still lives. The enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica are more than artifacts. They are questions carved in silence, riddles meant to endure beyond time. They challenge us to look deeper, to wonder whether history is far more mysterious than we allow ourselves to believe. And now, the question turns to you. What do you think these spheres were? Sacred symbols of the sun and moon? Astronomical maps etched into the earth? Warnings from ancestors? Or perhaps messages from civilizations long forgotten, maybe even from beyond our world? Share your theory in the comments. Let's unravel this mystery together, one voice at a time. If this journey through the jungles of Costa Rica stirred your imagination, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell, so you never miss the hidden stories that lie buried in our world's past. Because history is not finished. Its whispers still echo, in stone, in myth, in mystery, and together we'll keep listening. Until next time. Stay curious, stay searching, and never stop questioning the secrets time has left behind.